All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday, and you guys aren't going to believe it, but I thought I was recording a video, but it turns out that I was not. Something had happened, so I just wasn't recording. So I went through like a whole hour or whatever just to find out that it didn't record. So we've got the late night edition with cranberry juice. So let's go over everything that I did and what's happening in markets. Markets continue to be nutso, and what my plan is. So first, silver started working and worked fantastically today. I mean, this was huge. That was like 3%, 4%, something like that. And got to my first short term price target. Oh, I guess only 2.5%. That's weird. I thought it was more. Anyways, so right around this area is where I was going to get out, right around 29 or so. And so today, got out. I still think it looks fantastic. It's just the probability. So with options, it's just the probability that this goes higher is going to be a little bit less over the next, couple of days or whatever the case may be. Especially as this 50-day moving average kind of catches up. Oftentimes I see pullbacks and choppy action while the 50-day moving average is catching up. I guess with the exception of all in here. Yeah, so I would have missed all of this in here. But then if I was going to get into silver, depending on how gold looked, I would have caught this here. So it could be the same scenario there. But regardless, so that was SLV April 17 was the expiration, $26 strike price. 260 is what I paid for them. Sold them for 325, which is a gain of 25%, which is really good. Now, how with such a good move and very quickly, why is it only 25% gain? Well, because that options contract was already in the money, and those contracts were pretty, far dated. So I personally like to do it that way, and then I still just get out at that sort of price, and I'll take less of a gain for less risk, and even if, and I mean, shoot, you guys, 25% in three days, that's a killer, right? I mean, yeah, it could have been much, much better, but that's nothing to complain about, and I still think silver looks good, and gold looks great. Gold made a new all-time high. Gold miners look good, and but again, I wouldn't start a position here, but I also said that back in this area, right? And I missed out on it. And that's fine. And I got in, we had a good trade here in gold in this whole range in here. And clearly, I sold too early. And that has been a common theme with gold this entire last year. And even with that being the case, gold was one of, if not the most profitable instrument that I traded. Maybe NASDAQ being second, but GLD. So, nothing's ever going to be perfect, and it's all good. I would rather get out early than try and hold on and, kind of get wrecked. As that old saying goes, I think it's by Kramer. Bulls make money, bears make money, but pigs get slaughtered. And that is true. There's also a super old quote from one of the Rothschilds from way back when. And this guy asked him, how do you do so well in stocks? And he said, I never buy at the bottom, and I always sell too soon. And way before even my trading career, I've always been into like conspiracy theories and powerful families and those sorts of things, right? So at a young age, I had come across that quote from one of the Rothschilds and thought like, oh wow, so it's always kind of stuck with me. So anyways, gold still looks fantastic. I guess we can cancel this, right? Extension. I'll just leave it there. And like I said, I wouldn't start a position here. And just like I said, I wouldn't start a position there or here, and was clearly wrong. So, but now, so I'll wait for a pullback for some sort of better risk to reward. And who knows, maybe next time I'll hold it for longer, That's what I was saying all throughout last year too. Yeah, gold is just on a tear, and it really is quite strange, right? As being a geopolitical hedge. So we have yet to see, what does this gold breakout to new all-time highs? What does that actually mean? And I am a little bit surprised, but why? We'll find out. It could be nothing, but I doubt it's nothing. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row, maybe 5, but an entire month in a row. That's pretty wild. Has this happened any other time this previous last year? No. Huh. Wow. So gold looking really, really strong. Okay. And silver. So got out of silver. All right, let's talk about some other things I did yesterday. So Fubo got on my watch list, as you guys know, if you saw the videos, on this day. And I said, I wouldn't go after it here, but, I'll put it on the watch list now. And yesterday, I figured $4 is a good risk to reward. The $4 level here is a good risk to reward. The stochastic is much higher today, but from today and yesterday. But yesterday, kind of in the morning, it was a little bit lower. So it seemed like a good spot to go after it. Let's see this on a weekly chart. And before I get sidetracked with the weekly chart, the reason I would do $4 as a good price risk to reward here is because this would be a shorter term trade for me, and these kind of high flying names, I play it that way if I'm even gonna touch them, So okay, now let's look at this on the weekly chart. Yeah, I mean, this looks really good. So 450 would be my price target. And again, I'm super conservative. I could see this going nuts if it does work. And if this fails and doesn't work, I could see it failing pretty spectacularly, right? So that's kind of why I keep it pretty tight on this. So, but anyways, so I'm in some shorter dated calls on this. February 21st is the expiration. And by shorter dated, for me, that's certainly shorter dated, that's for sure. 30 days to expiration is as short as I like to do it. $3.50 strike price, 72 cents is what I paid for those contracts. Those are currently 76 cents. Okay, moving on to Geo, our old friend Geo. So I stumbled across this yesterday towards the end of the day and thought, oh my gosh, this looks fantastic. Below the $30 where kind of everybody has that as a support level. So lots of people are going to be setting their stop losses below the $30 level, and then here's the 50-day moving average. So same thing. So the people that didn't set it, like 29.50 to 30 for the stop losses, they're going to wait to see what happens at the 50-day moving average. Well, it broke through that intraday, so they all get out. That weakness was then bought, and those same people, just psychologically speaking, are going to be getting back into it. Maybe not all of them, but you get people, they get pissed, right? They get all emotional and they get pissed. Oh, I can't believe it. So they're going to double down with, twice as much, right? And I noticed the options market for Geo has gotten much more liquid than it was just even a month ago. So that's awesome. So those April 17 is the expiration. So a couple months out. $31 strike price. $4.55 is what I paid for those contracts. $4.60 is the price of those currently, and this looks really good. Maybe over $32.50 I would add to this. Or maybe not. Maybe tomorrow we'll add to it. But yeah, this looks good. Let's see this on a weekly chart. Yeah, whatever. It's rebounding. Weekly chart. Jeez. Let's see this on a weekly. So, yeah, we'll see. This is our old friend Geo, the undisputed winner from the Trump trade. That and banks. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about something else I did yesterday. So nukes. I got into nukes yesterday. And on Tuesday, I said, wow, nukes looks pretty good here. You could use a $45 level and, good risk to reward here. It's got a gap to fill up to 50. So good, 3-to-1 risk to reward. Now, for me personally, I'm not going to be selling these at 50 anyways, so I guess it doesn't really matter. This is an equity position. I don't even think you can trade options in this particular ETF, but anyways, so all in here, this was huge volume of buying. And good support. I mean, this day was nuts, with DeepSeek and NVIDIA and all these things. But the investment is already, here for nuclear energy. And I don't see it slowing down. So, and it shouldn't. I think we should certainly invest in nuclear energy for sure. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I don't know. You can't argue otherwise. It's clean energy, cheap energy, right? You guys ever think about this whole renewable energy thing, how it was supposed to be cheap, right? Like, you ever think about that? Like it was sold to us as like it's good for the environment and it's cheap, right? But my electricity bill has never gone down, So... Anyway, it's just, more of these politicians and experts lying, go figure, right? Oh, and you know what else is really funny, So it's like China's at record amounts of using of coal, so. And they make all the components that go into our, renewable energy anyway, so they're probably just cracking up. So, okay. So I think this looks good. Yeah, and on the weekly chart, this looks really fantastic. I'll certainly add to this. As a matter of fact, I think tomorrow I am just going to add to this. I don't know why I didn't today. It was really dumb. Up 5%. It's really good. Oh, so average cost basis in these, 45.84. 45.85. And like I said, equity position. And also, like I said, I should have added to this today. I was extremely dumb that I didn't. I probably just will tomorrow, honestly. Maybe not. On any weakness, I will maybe. How about that? Whoa. This is after hours. It got all the way to 50 and filled that gap at 50. With like what, one share traded? So, yeah. And this is a theme for the coming years. I like I've been saying, and I really still, I still believe that. Now, will I hold this for 2 years? Maybe not, but I would like to. Below the 50-day moving average, and I get out, or some sort of climax blow off top, then I will get out. But I would love to hold this, for many years. All right. IBIT. I'm still in those IBIT calls. And those are March 21st is the expiration, $55 strike price. $6.75 is what I pay for on those are currently. $7.75, so this one's been quite interesting. I got in on this day for this time around, and was up very nicely, and then down, and now up pretty nicely. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We still got time on these. Let's look at Bitcoin right now, and it's down after hours. Well, I guess not. Whatever, you guys know what I'm saying. I mean, I don't even know. I really don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know. Was it the smart thing to get out here the last time it pulled back here, just like it would have been the smart thing to get out here, like I was saying on Tuesday's video? We shall see. We shall see. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. We shall see. I have no plan for this for tomorrow. So, yeah, and who knows? I mean, maybe Friday could be good for Bitcoin, and then over the weekend it just goes nutty, because that's certainly happened all last year. So, okay. All right. I think that's everything. I got out of Tesla. We'll talk about that in a second. Well, we might as well. Let's just go over to Mag 7 because that's all my positions. So then we'll go over to Tesla here. And, so yesterday I get out of Tesla, and it just for a few percentage point loss, right? So it was like 411 was the average cost. And, I get out like, I don't know, 390-ish. I was selling throughout a couple different times throughout the day. And, I wasn't 100% on, earnings. Wow, I did not know it went down to 365. Whoa, that's crazy. But, so why did I sell this yesterday? Well, one, because I had no cushion going into earnings. And that's something that has been taught to me, is if you don't have a cushion going into earnings, that is a no-go. You cannot do that. And two, below the 50-day moving average. Now, this is the second time that I've got out for a small loss, right? So, it's whatever. This still looks okay. I would argue this looks like pretty good. So, I think my plan is any sort of strength or anything over this trend line, and I will get into this again. And I have no problem with that. That's awesome, right? Capital preservation is rule number one. And so on any strength, I'll get back in again. And, third time's a charm. So let's see, 402, where is it? Yeah, see, so this has got to go up pretty. But who knows? Maybe you could do the same thing again with the $4 risk to reward, although I guess I would take it below this trend line. But anyways, so Tesla still looks fine. I would argue this looks like pretty good. Honestly, stochastic down here at 20, RSI's right around 50. There's kind of a couple different shakeouts below the 50-day moving average. You have this sort of VCP pattern, and those are good. I like those. Mark Minervini, that's how he trades, and I also like them. So yeah, this could certainly still work. So that's Tesla. Now let's go over NVIDIA. And when I was doing this video earlier that didn't get recorded, I had noticed this trend line from looking at the weekly chart. So starting from here all the way back in April of 24 is when this trend line had started. And so this is a long trend line that has been respected, and it still currently is respected. So from looking at this, and it's above the 200-day moving average, you could use the 120s as a risk and some sort of gap fill as the reward. So it's like 5-ish, maybe 8, something like that for 135 for 10. So that's an okay risk to reward. It's not quite a 3-to-1. Now this is just me thinking out loud how I would do it, but it's still pretty decent. I mean, shoot, this is NVIDIA, largest drop ever. Couple different shakeouts below the 200-day moving average is respecting this. I think this looks pretty sweet for a shorter swing trade. I might do debit spreads in this. I think I'm going to be doing a lot more debit spreads. I said I was going to have to get kind of creative. And not that debit spreads are creative, but my strategy is very simplistic. So you could make the argument that debit spreads are getting creative for me. but something along those lines, right? And the same thing, Fubo, right? That's kind of more getting creative. So NVIDIA, I think looks good. Honestly, I think I might go after this tomorrow. We'll see. I do kind of like that it's down after hours. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. It's NVIDIA. There is a gap to fill. I wouldn't hold it to 135. I would be around 132. Personally. 131. 132. That's still a decent move, And you would make a pretty good return on that with debit spreads or options. So I think it could be worth going after. So that's NVIDIA and Tesla. So, NVIDIA can be worth going after tomorrow. Same thing with Tesla. Also, you have some really good volume here as well. It's good to see good volume today. So NVIDIA can be worth going after. Tesla, now let's go over another one that I'll probably go after tomorrow, Google. So look at this. I mean, this is fantastic. This is ascending triangle pattern, I think, which is my favorite pattern that I've really not been seeing much of lately at all, really. And I don't know if this is just my eye trying to find it, right? Because it's my favorite pattern. But this, so you've got this diagonal line and then the straight line, which is my favorite pattern. And because this is an ascending triangle. Yeah, so that's different than ascending wedge. Ascending triangle is different than ascending wedge. Okay, so yeah, I was getting a little confused there. But I love this sort of pattern. We'll see if it plays out. Anything. Like I've been saying, there's some serious selling that has been going on over $200. And that looks as if it is drying up. So you would expect new highs. This will continue maybe to 210. Let's see where the price target will be. Let's look at that. That's something I didn't do. On my last video, that wasn't actually the video. So yeah, I mean, a little bit over 210. Yeah, so like 212. But I would get out before that anyways. That's just me. I just do. Okay. Remove drawing. Oh, shoot. Oh, it's drawing. So Google, Tesla, Nvidia, Apple. Oh, so Apple, with Apple's earnings today, it's not surprising that they did well. There's a good reaction to their earnings because a couple things. Although this market is insane and ridiculous, it is still a bull market, and so there's that one. Two, the expectations for Apple was very low. So anything that just wasn't bad was going to be good. And three, the short interest in Apple has really been ticking up over the last month or two. So you'll have institutions that have to, cover their positions. And that's what we're seeing. So all this, I believe, will bode well for markets tomorrow. Now, Microsoft, their earnings yesterday, the really good revenue growth, profit margin, EPS, good product growth and things like Copilot. But what really spooked investors, as they say, is how much money that they're spending on AI. So it's also concerning where you have a earnings beat, and the stock gets sold off super hard. I mean, -6%. That's pretty gnarly. And especially for an earnings beat, then to get sold off that hard is not good. That's not a good sign. But it's really interesting, right? We're talking about things like on Tuesday where 450, and like, look, Microsoft's back up at 450. Last time I got here is when it went down, and really Microsoft has not been in any sort of uptrend for a long time. And this is from January 30th of last year. So this is an entire year, and this thing has not been in an uptrend. I guess this is actually an uptrend, but same price as a year ago. So coming into earnings and at a place of resistance, I'm not surprised that the reaction to the earnings was not good. But this was quite a dramatic reaction, and if this closes like down, right, if this doesn't have some sort of rebound to, let's call it 430 tomorrow, 425, that'll be pretty concerning. This weekly candle like this, and plus all this consolidation now is losing momentum, right? I mean, so yeah. Now, let's look at a company that had a good reaction to earnings, Meta. And this is not surprising because Meta has been in a clear and obvious sort of uptrend and making new highs prior to earnings coming out. So, there's that saying of you get surprised to the upside during bull markets and you get surprises to the downside during bear markets. And same is true, and that's, on like an index level, but same is true for stocks as well. So, when a stock is uptrending, you're going to get surprises to the upside and vice versa. So, Meta with a good reaction to earnings, is not surprising. And with Microsoft, a bad reaction to earnings is also not surprising. I wouldn't necessarily have been surprised either way per se, but that there's a bad reaction, Like for example, if Meta had a bad reaction on earnings, I would have been very surprised. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. NVIDIA, let's look at Taiwan Semiconductor. Well, Taiwan Semiconductor looks a lot stronger than NVIDIA does. But there's less obvious risk here. Like, what would I risk on this? Maybe, what's that, 5%? And a 5% move in equity with options is pretty substantial. But if NVIDIA works, Taiwan Semiconductor will work. So maybe instead of NVIDIA, it's got to be Taiwan Semiconductor. But then where would you get out with this one? 8 points up. So interesting. Okay. All right. That's enough for Mag 7, I guess. Is that all of them? Probably not. I feel like I always miss them. Oh, holy moly. Amazon. How's our Amazon looking? I'm going to go after this here. Okay. All right. Now let's go over to indexes. So NASDAQ's up big right now. Wow. 426. 526. But I guess, let's see. Yeah, I mean, shoot. This looks good. This looks good. I mean, come on. Are we going to start a new uptrend? Like, off this 50-day moving average. It's now respected this for a couple days in a row. It's shook everyone out. There was a serious shakeout today. My goodness. What a crazy day, right? I mean, just gets absolutely booted in the morning. And this looked horrible this morning. This was right here. This was looking bad. Things were kind of rolling over, looking really bad. Nice rebound. Going into the close was looking so good until it got absolutely blasted right here. And now, wow, does this look really strong. So, I don't know. You got Google looks really good. NVIDIA looks good for a gap fill, right? Tesla could potentially look good. So these are things I'm probably going to go after tomorrow. Tesla, Google, NVIDIA, or Taiwan Semiconductor. And instead of NASDAQ, I'm thinking I'm going to go after S&P because S&P looks stronger. So, but this does scare me right here. There's this gap to fill. Ugh. But S&P looks stronger. If this can create some sort of uptrend, like, come on, let's do something here. Let's do something. Now the stochastic on S&P is much higher than the Qs are, but that's also because I think S&P looks a lot stronger. So, if Qs are working, so will S&P. So there's my thoughts with that. Okay, now let's go over to Russell. Russell's looking primed, for a breakout above this 50-day moving average. And just because I think it's looking primed doesn't mean that I'm going to try and anticipate this move, although, gosh, do I really want to. I've wanted to for many, many days, but I haven't. But if you guys look at this on a weekly chart, this looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks really good. So above the 50-day moving average, and I'll probably have to go after this. And then now let's look at Dow. So Dow, I mean, what an insane move, you know? And it's such a bummer that I've missed this most recent move. Yeah, Dow's my favorite index, and financials, right? Those are rocking. I haven't even given you a chance, above the 50-day moving average, and it's like, see you later. And that's good, the strongest stocks, that's how they perform. You don't really get pullbacks too much. You know what I mean? I'll just keep on going without you. But right here, so Visa reported earnings, and it was a good reaction to earnings, which is not surprising, given the fact that there was a good reaction to MasterCard. However, right here at these levels, I don't exactly know, how much upside there would be here, in the short term, right? How do you know when you're wrong? How do you know when you get out? What is the risk to reward here? How would you play this? I freaking have no clue. There isn't, Now, could these keep going higher? Yeah, of course. But, it's just all about probabilities, right? Let's see. I think Bank of America is right at resistance levels. Yeah. I think Wells Fargo is as well. Well, I guess not. Wells Fargo actually looks pretty good. This is actually kind of a lot of consolidation in here that you don't even think about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So weak. Kind of breaking out. So, but still, RSI is at kind of elevated levels, so how much more upside do you have? Could be a lot, but again, it's just it's just probabilities, right? Okay, so there's that, banks, all that. Now let's go over some sectors here, and then we'll call it a night. So real estate looks okay. It looks okay. I wouldn't do anything with this, but whatever. Let's see this on a weekly chart. Yeah, I mean, shoot. If this could close up... Oh my gosh, yeah, and real estate, home sales just are tanking, right? Was that yesterday? It's today. Yeah, so go figure. So... pending home sales month over month have decreased 5.5% versus a flat estimate, which is quite remarkable. And the 2.5% increase was revised to 1.5%. So shocker, they were off by an entire percentage point. So they were off by 50%. Yeah, just. It's so ridiculous, but wow, on the monthly chart, this looks good. I still do believe that, this looks good on the monthly chart. Wow, very interesting on the monthly chart. Very clear risk to reward on the monthly chart. My goodness, you got up to 45, below 40. Huh. So I still believe, so long as rates are going to come down, which we have yet to see, that... real estate could still be a really good trade. Let's look at home builders. Yeah, this is going to need to start a new uptrend. Otherwise, look out. If this rolls back over, which it very well could, then look out. So let's look at this. So we'll say February 1st of 22. Let's see what happened with S&P February 1st of 22. Oh, that's 23. February 1st. So market dynamics were certainly much, much different back here than they are here. Very interesting. So maybe that could be nothing. Let's So yeah, I mean, you guys, you will get clues. Okay, let's look at bonds here. So I'm trying to hold on, you know, trying to turn up. Let's look at dollar. Let's look at dollar index. So it's really strong. I have the 50-day moving average. Dang it. Dang it, dang it. Okay. Okay. What else are we looking at? Utilities. Yeah, utilities looks pretty freaking good. You know, stochastic down here, above the 50-day moving average. So utilities look pretty good. Consumer staples looks okay. You know, it's like this whole action in here looks good. You know, this looked good in here as well when I said that, you know, that it did, but I said below the 200-day moving average, just a no-go for me personally. And this still looks good, but again, I'm, you know, over 50-day moving average, and we'll see what happens. Utilities, I think, looks really good. Oh yeah, we just looked at that. What was it? Communications, all-time high, right? XBI, biotech looks okay-ish. Not whatever. I have no opinion. Healthcare, you know, back above the 200-day moving average, which is good to see. Let's look at United Health. Yeah, very interesting. Man, Dow Jones could honestly might go like significantly higher than people expect. Wow, very interesting. And I think that's it. So anyways, the plan for tomorrow. Tomorrow could actually be a really good day. It's probably going to go long SPY. You know, although a new position into the weekend, it's like, with gold at all-time highs, I don't know. XLU, though, Tesla, Google, potentially for all of these, NVIDIA or Taiwan Semiconductor, and SPY. Oh, gosh. Oh, nukes. Oh, yeah, we already talked about nukes. So that's everything. Banks, yeah, I can't freaking believe it. You know, I was looking at this today too with Dow, where over this 50-day moving average, and that was it. You know, I remember on this day right here, right at the 50-day moving average, I was trying to get into Dow on that day. But where was it? This day. It was this day. So this was the market open, and NASDAQ was horrible. S&P was horrible. So I was expecting and waiting for more of a pullback, right? But that just never came. So where am I going with this? It could be the same with Russell. You know, it could be and it could not be. Like we were talking about the strongest ones, you won't get a chance. You know, if you didn't buy that initial break, there's not a pullback. There's not a chance. Same thing with here. Whoa. Yeah, I was doing these videos back then. I remember this. So, wow, look at that fake out. Jeez. Oof, that's ugly. So, yeah, you know, could be the same thing, or the 50-day moving average, and I will go for this, and it could work out, or it could not. Something will happen, though. Yeah, that's it. You know, I will say one last thing. It's good to see, you know, Bitcoin miners having a really good day today. Marathon. Not like I would go after any of these, right? But, you know, 4%, CleanSpark up 6%. Oh, almost 7%. You know, Riot's probably good. Yeah, 6%. Let's see what Hut's up to, 7%. So, that's good. Whoa, it's down like a full percentage point right now. I'm trying to form an opinion here. I don't think I have one. Yeah, I don't have one. I don't have one. Alright, we'll leave it at that. I'm still in those calls, and yeah, who knows? Maybe I should have gotten out of them today. Maybe. We will find out, though, for sure. Alright, guys. I'll catch you all tomorrow.